a small town at the foot of the mountains, the fortress of the Flying Eagle. Several men from Gao's family beat the unfortunate man with their feet and reproach him for his arrogance. Gao Xiaolun beats the poor man with a stick and cries out why he is silent. The blows continue to pile up and the rioters question why young Master Lu is now silent. People on the outside recognize the unfortunate young man. It's Xin Chen. He might get beaten up. This young man's father was treated badly. Gao Xiaolun says that this world is not permanent. Now Lu's family is kicked out of the Flying Eagle Fortress, and the young man will live in poverty. The boy was lying unconscious when a passerby approached him. Gao Xiaolun said that this dog should not be paid attention to. Right from the sky, a sudden pillar of light descended on the young man. Everyone beating Lu bounced aside in surprise. It was like lightning. Everyone thought it was the ancestors of the Lu family who were angry. Gao Xiaolun shouted the loudest. He said he wasn't afraid of heaven's punishment. He added that he just killed a dog. Does anyone around here want to join him? The Gao family dealt with the thief of the Flying Eagle Fortress. The young man lay there not knowing if he was still alive. He didn't realize what fortress he was talking about. Everything hurt, as if all his bones were broken. Xin Chen came to his senses and realized that this was not the world of immortals. He must have been reborn. The young man imagined himself on the edge of a precipice in front of numerous warriors. One of the warriors offered to surrender. Princess Ceylin was betrothed to the young master Zhi Yaozong. He failed to obtain the Tianfu kingdom, but he could still survive if he returned with the military. The young man only laughed in response and said it sounded silly. Then the young man shouted that he had done such shameless things, taking his wife away from him and destroying his meridians. Guy added that the warriors don't need to kill him. In his thoughts, the young man motioned for Ceylin to wait for him. The young man thought that he must repay all wrongdoers. The hero turned around to face the cliff and jumped into the abyss. The warriors who saw this shrieked in surprise. The young man shouted, "Blood for blood!" This is the continent of Tianfu. Two races occupied it. They were barbarians and humans. They competed all the time. The real owner of Xin Chen's body is a young master of the Lu family from the Flying Eagle Fortress. His father died in the war against the barbarians. So did the Lu family's army. Since that period, the family has been broken up. The people of the Flying Eagle Fortress did not repay the Lu family in any way. Xin Chen was treated like trash, being poisoned because he couldn't cultivate. Everyone was bullying the young man. In the end, Xin Chen was beaten to death. Gao Xiaolun thought the guy was faking and told him to keep beating him. The boy, bleeding and unable to open his eyes, said he shouldn't be beaten. Otherwise, everyone would be in trouble. Gao Xiaolun lifted the guy up by the scruff of his neck and asked how the guy dared to talk so impertinently. The young man smiled in return. The young man poked the villain with his finger. Gao Xiaolun flew far upwards with a scream. His partners watched their boss's flight with fear. Xin Chen rose to his feet, shook himself off, and walked over to his assailant. He lay bleeding on the ground. The guy asked if the creep knew what death was, and kicked the scoundrel in the head. The young man turned to the dumbfounded ringleaders and told them to pass the Flying Eagle to everyone in the fortress. Xin Chen goes back. The young man entered the fortress. Lu's family was once very talented. It could stand up to the barbarians. It was sad that such an elite family had gotten to this point after they were killed in battle. A servant, Uncle Li, came up to the young man and cheerfully told him that the young master had returned. The servant was surprised that the young man was injured. He assumed that it was the Gao family's pranks and wanted to go to deal with them. Uncle Li said that once upon a time the Gao family was nothing compared to the Lu family. The old man kept wailing that it was all his fault. He was ashamed in front of Lu's ancestors for letting the young master experience such suffering. The young man said in response that he was fine, and he decided to restore his talent while he was here. The old man couldn't believe his ears. It was not for nothing that they had suffered so much. The young master hasn't dishonored his ancestors. He hasn't lost face in front of you. The young man thought how good it was to have such a faithful servant. The boy interrogated Uncle Li, "What do you mean long-suffering?" Gao Chenfeng, the eldest son of the Gao family, said that he was going to break the guy today. There was no one else left. Xin Chen said that news travels very fast. Why did Chengfeng come to avenge that trash? Thought to himself, this body has no achievements. If you just go all out, nothing good would come out of it. Chenfeng's servant shouted for the guy not to be impertinent to his master and ordered him to kneel down. Uncle Li pushed the boy away and told him to be more careful. The old man pretended not to hear. Xin Chen intercepted the servant's weapon that he was threatening. The guy clearly has a clan matured on how to fight back against the aliens. The young man said threateningly, the last person to speak to him like that, and there followed a powerful blow at the insolent servant. The upstart certainly didn't expect this turn of events. He flew far back. He had no chance of escape. Xin Chen decided that this servant was finished for good. Chen Feng watched all of this without getting off his horse. Everyone was surprised. They knew that the young man hadn't cultivated. How could this be possible? It turns out that the Flying Eagle Fortress was giving him resources at everyone's back. Chen Feng didn't want the Lu family to come back. We should have cut off her grass and roots. Uncle Li called all of his own to protect the young master. The old man saw that Xin Chen had shown his skill. Now the Gao family won't let him go so easily. The boy told Uncle Li not to worry. The Gao family wouldn't even be able to injure him. The old man countered that Chen Feng has a 6th-level martial arts cultivation. We are no match for him. The old man said that he wouldn't survive if the young man was injured. How would he face his ancestors on the way to Xuanquan? Chen Feng laughed and said, "Old man Li shows enviable loyalty." He was touched. Chen Feng said that he would allow them to bow down to him 3 times a day, and he would just destroy all the other members of the Lu family. Will destroy Xin Chen's cultivation and save him from a bad life. Chen Feng decided to make the young man a useless person to live in a world where his entire family is destroyed and his heart is ruined. Old man Li muttered that the man wouldn't be able to escape. He got into a fighting stance in readiness to fight back, but at the last moment something in him snapped and he was ready to kneel before Chen Feng. Xin Chen rushed towards the old man and shouted at him not to kneel down. The guy pounced on Chen Feng in a rage. Toth tried to fend off the attack. After the collision, the young men both flew off the horse and fell to the ground. Chen Feng was surprised. How did this become possible? This is the cultivation of the 6th stage of martial arts. Xin Chen said that Gao Chengfeng had intimidated too many people step by step. Is he really going to keep doing this? The young man was ready to stop this injustice right here and now. A spark of hatred flashed in his eyes towards the likes of Gao Chengfeng. Xin Chen angrily moved on the offender for pressuring people and intimidating them greatly. Now the young man is ready to become ruthless. The guy made the decision to attack the enemy. He thought that this secret skill, grasping the basics, takes life but improves ability. Although there was no limit, time was running out and he had to defeat the enemy as soon as possible. Chen Feng said that Xin Chen thinks that he can be a worthy opponent after using a secret skill to reach the 6th stage of martial arts. He is wrong. The young man shouted out on the run, telling Chen Feng not to take wishful thinking for granted. The young men finally fought in hand-to-hand combat. The energy of their punches was so great that sparks were flying from their blows. Xin Chen thought that Gao Chengfeng deserved to be the first of the young generation martial arts geniuses from the Flying Eagle Fortress. A palm with all his strength couldn't defeat him. Chengfeng shouted that the young man was behaving quite well. Maybe in the future he would have a chance to win. But to prevent that from happening, the warrior decided to deal with the boy right now. The mad python becomes the dragon of the Gao family. Xin Chen knew that the highest level of this martial art was dragon power. The young man knew that Gao Chengfeng was still a small snake. The guy very skillfully repelled the attacker's attack. Chengfeng shouted that it was impossible to break his dragon with one blow. Xin Chen warned against being distracted in battle. With a powerful left uppercut, the young man knocked out his assailant. Chengfeng had no chance to stay on his feet and flew far backwards. With a rumble, the enemy landed on his back, breaking through a piece of wall. The unfortunate man lay motionless, blood oozing from his head. Our hero calmly left the battlefield while everyone around him was saying that Gao Chengfeng had been slaughtered by young Master Lu. Xin Chen said to tell the old man of the Gao family that he had massacred his 2 sons, and is willing to wait at this place for revenge. Everyone ran away in fear, shouting that they would definitely pass on the message. Xin Chen coughed up blood. Old man Li rushed to his aid. The guy wiping up the blood said he was fine. He won't let Lu's family suffer any more problems like this. The long-sighted Uncle Li suggested that the young man, as long as he practiced hard, get married. As soon as the girl from the Wei family returned, the old man rubbed his hands together and concluded that the good days were returning for his master. A memory came back to the boy. A girl from the Wei family. This is Wei Wuxuang. They should have been married since they were kids. His body still has some remaining memories. The young man remembered walking with Wei as a child. They went to the store to buy her the most beautiful headdress. The girl was offering Xin Chen a look at Wu Shuang's training sword. Growing up, Wei stuck up for friend, calling him the best person in the world. Then her father decided to send his daughter to a dynasty college. The young people had to break up. Xin Chen thought that he was not worthy of this girl's hand. She has a unique talent. Don't think about her. All are practicing with spiritual power in their bodies. They can be divided into kingdoms. Each realm is divided into 10 levels. The young man thought that by transitioning between levels, he would be able to reach the Tiangong realm. And the strongest level of the Tianfu stage was the 8th level of the Shenlu realm. 3 days later at the Lu's family home, the first elder of the Lentil building, Tang Cheng, says that Mr. Lu should give the secret skill to him. The chief elder of the White Tiger Hall, Xu Zhen, says that all the things the hall gives to Mr. Lu are real gold and silver. The guy thought about the fact that everyone knows he has a unique skill, and many sects want to pull him to their side. The third said that Lu Xincheng was born in the Flying Eagle Fortress. The fortress is kind to him. If the guy gives the secret skill to him, he will ask the master of the fortress to solve all the issues with the Gao family. Then Lu's family will be able to return to the fortress. The guy laughed and said he remembered his origins. But Lu Xincheng also has a skill that kept him from being slaughtered on the street. The young man said it's unconscionable to bring him to your side. It's crossing all boundaries. The guy said he invited them all over to see the spectacle. Someone restlessly began to call Lu Xincheng outside. The guy decided to go out and see who he was crossing. Everyone came out of the building and shouted that it was the 7th stage of martial arts. Moving like lightning, Xin Chen looked at it calmly at first. Then he started walking towards me, speeding up all the time. And now he is already fiercely rushing at the comer, shouting that he has waited so long for this meeting. It was a member of the Gao family. He shouted that no one could threaten to kill his family. Now he was going to tear that rascal boy to shreds. The lad was determined to fight back against the enemy. Old Man Gao summoned his battle dragon to his aid. Together they represented an indestructible force. The old man directed powerful energy at his opponent. The guy wasn't sweet, but he blocked his opponent's hardest punches. One of the Lu family's guests said that he would help the kid. Although his secret skill is good, but it is not a rival to Gao Zhenhui. For that, he asked the kid to give his skill to the White Tiger Hall. The elders prepared to defend the young man and fight back against Old Man Gao. The third guest stopped them and told them not to interfere with other people's work. Gao Zhenhui is unstoppable. It's better to join him to deal with Lu Xincheng and prevent these secret martial arts from falling into the wrong hands. The situation was getting very bad for the young man. The 3 guests were having an argument with each other. The guy took the fight to Old Man Gao. Old Man Gao threw furious punches and shouted curses at the young man. Guy kept blocking his opponent and preventing him from being effective. The opponent's clots of energy were blowing everything around them now and then. Lu Xincheng was lying motionless near the ruined wall. The little girl cried with fear and clung to her mother. The guest looked at the woman with an appraising gaze. No one wanted the child to get hurt. The old man shouted for the girl to be quiet immediately. The baby continued to cry with even more force. Lu Xincheng began to come to his senses. He opened his eyes. Rage and anger overwhelmed him. The boy jumped up, lunging towards his enemy, clenching his fist furiously. Old Man Gao was shocked. Is this a magical illusion? The guy increased his cultivation to the magic realm. The young man flew up to the old man and punched his chest with all his might, bringing all his skills to bear. It was epic. Master Gao flew far and long with a scream. Lu Xincheng tried to calm down. In the distance, the guy's guests continued to argue with each other. The young man, watching them scrambling around, shouted at them to get out of here. They wouldn't get his secret skill in exchange for their trash. He repeated it again to the 3 misfits to get them to walk away from his house. The guy announced that from now on, anyone who gets in his way, they will be destroyed at once. There will be no favors. And to make sure everyone knows, now everything had changed in Lu's family. The young man wasn't feeling well. Old Man Li brought the boy some medicine. It's been a whole week, but his strength hasn't returned yet. The cough was still bloody, but the guy said he was fine. You don't have to worry so much. The young man thought that he had given his best effort in the last battle. He doesn't have chi anymore. A small pool can't raise a dragon. To save Ceylon, you have to reach the Tiangong realm at the very least. He's not that good at martial arts. We'll have to leave everyone as fast as possible. The young man knew he had to be strong. An elder and a young man are traveling on the back of a huge bird. Now they've come to a noble house, to Feng Fu, the head of Chilean city. The master said that an elder from the Mujun family came to his humble home. He was very interested. The old man said he had one request, so he came to his father-in-law. The landlord said that the groom, Shuai's betrothed husband, has always been a drug addict. No one knows where he gets his secret skills, and added that things are in full swing now, and it won't be easy to agree to throw it away. The old man said that one should not underestimate the strength of the Mujun family. Feng Fu said that he was very interested in this strange Lu Xincheng. Previously, he had massacred the head of the Bajong clan. The young man became very angry when he heard this. He shouted loudly, "How could this happen? Isn't this Lu Xincheng a pawn of the 8th step of martial arts? What's the problem with killing him?" The old man said that Chief Wei's worries were not unreasonable, but he came to solve all the problems. Everything will be fine if he backs off, and vice versa. If Lu Xincheng is dealt with, the engagement can be cancelled. Old man Li told the young master that his relatives had come. Yuto Wei Wushuang, that girl who went to the Imperial College. Memories come flooding back to the young man. The girl tells him that her father is sending her to college, and they'll have to part ways. The boy decides that the young lady has always been kind to him. Too bad her father likes to be an overly powerful man. The guests approached Lu Xincheng. The guy knelt in respect and said he was glad to see the mayor of the city. The old man said they had a gift for the young master. The guests told Xincheng to take advantage of it. Their young master is always so extravagant. The guy was very surprised. The young man thought that the guests were not as simple as they wanted to appear. The old man asked why he didn't open the gift. There was a pill in the box. "It's a Dian pill," the old man said. "It has the effect of strengthening and cultivating Yan. Its use is very simple. It just needs to be swallowed." Lu Xincheng thought it was very suspicious to give him a pill without a reason. The old man added that if one took the pill, the ability to cultivate much faster would appear. The young man thought that if he took this pill along with his medicine, he would die immediately. Lu Xincheng decided that this old man wished for his doom. The boy knew that this old man was very strong, and he couldn't fight any of them, since he was still very weak. The boy thanked the guests and said that if he reached the magical realm, he would remember their kindness. The young guest, looking at Lu Xincheng, thought that this guy was not worthy of young lady Wushuang. The old man said he had a gift from his master for young master Lu. The young man said that he did not know his master. The old man replied that his young master was Mu Junchu, the 3rd Duke of the Mu family in White Perfect City. He was chosen by the Sun and Moon Divine Sect and became a novice of the outside world with Miss Wushuang. The guy wondered, what kind of Divine Sun and Moon Sect is this? The interlocutor replied that the Sun and Moon Divine Sect was the largest in this area. Even the Fortress of the Flying Eagle is not comparable to it. Lu Xincheng asked what his master wanted in return for his gift. The old man said that everything would be clear when the young man read the scroll. The scroll said that Uncle Wei wanted to break the engagement. The young man realized that the weakest feeling in the world was the heart. The young alien began to demand that Lu Xincheng immediately sign the document. He added that his young master has great power and wealth. He has a unique talent and good looks. The young man also added that Mrs. Wushuang and their young master are both attractive and perfect for each other. The young man thought sadly that it was better to marry a rich, strong guy and have a better future than to follow a piece of trash. The alien told Lu Xincheng to take a second look at himself. He's not worthy of that girl. No need to ruin her future. Lu Xincheng began to get very angry. He didn't like the words of his interlocutor. The guy said they really are completely different people. Lu Xincheng sadly said that they were strangers from now on and put a bloody seal on the document. The boy sat there and felt sad. He was worried that he wouldn't be able to improve as quickly as possible. Lu Xincheng thought that the Divine Sun and Moon Sect sounded beautiful. If he could get there, it would help him improve his strength. Uncle Li brought the young master some things. When the old man heard what had happened, he cried. He said that these heartless people were not interested in affection and mutual relations. Lu Xincheng retorted that she was deworthy to be with such a young man, and added that his wife would be 1,000 times better than Wei Wushuang. The boy, bidding his uncle farewell, said that these old thieves were deluded, and they'd meet soon. The boy whispered something in the old man's ear. Uncle Li liked it. The boy said to let Uncle Li let them know he wasn't a softened persimmon. The boy, left alone, began to think over the further plan of his actions. He pondered that the people in this dimension have a small misunderstanding. They think that taking the Dayuan pill with a hardened body will lead to death. In order to prevent that from happening, we need to add drowsy London to it. The tremendous strength of the Dayuan Dan would become calm and lasting, which would be the most effective way to improve one's strength to the magical realm. Someone came into the room and apologized for the disturbance. He asked if Lu Xincheng was really going to die. He was answered that it was true. The young man overloaded himself with secret skills and now he is very weak. Everyone is looking for life support medicine for him. The interlocutor replied that this was good news. When the guy dies, his property, his family, and his secret skills will pass to him. In that case, we should hurry up and send soldiers to surround the house. He also added that Lu Xincheng is the son of his good brother. There's no need to bother him when he's dying. even if his engagement is cancelled. Lu Xincheng thought that the city leader was certainly smart, but his end would come soon. 20 days later, the warriors were still standing outside Lu Xincheng's house. They wouldn't let anyone see the young man on orders from the head of the city, but everyone knew what the troops were here for. The guest said that now the head of the city showed his true face. One of the warriors remarked that it was brave to insult the head of the city, but it is reckless and disrespectful. The guest said that they were not afraid of the warriors as they were very tough themselves and a fight ensued. Old man Li walked over to the young master and said that they were figuring things out outside again. Lu Xincheng said that it was good and let them fight for a couple days. Wei Fengtian had already lost a lot of warriors to deal with other families. Young thanked his uncle for his help in keeping the family safe. Now the young man decided it was time to meet them. The guy thought that a 5th level of martial arts was enough to deal with them. When our hero appeared on the evidence, everyone saw that it was divine level, so Lu Xincheng is still alive. One of the guests asked, "What is the guy going to do?" Lu Xincheng jumped very high from his seat. He asked those present what they wanted him to do. Lu Xincheng blamed the interlocutor and said that he was ungrateful. When his father died in the confrontation with the barbarians, he struck him when he stood by him. The guy added that they only need him when he's useful. When not needed, he could easily be beaten up on the street. The young master called his interlocutor a shameless bastard. Another guest was told by Lu Xincheng that he was following the trend and forgetting the good things. When his family fell, everyone yelled at him. They threatened to kill him if he didn't share his secret skills. The guy also blamed the person who made him cancel the engagement and hurt him by doing so. Hypocrisy and ignorance all around. Lu Xincheng intends today to repay all his ancestors who died in the war and his soldiers who suffered humiliation. Lu Xincheng became a ghost who sowed doom among his enemies. There was no escape from him. The survivors rushed to the sides, shouting that Lu Xincheng was a ghost taking their lives. Chaos and doom swirled around. The young warrior was leaving the battlefield, leaving only corpses behind him. He said that before you do anything, you should think carefully about the consequences. Lu Xincheng continued and said that the heads of the city, Eagle Fortress, Sparrow Fortress, and White Tiger Fortress should all bow down to his house. Everyone in the neighborhood was startled at what they heard. The city mayor realized that Lu Xincheng had personally massacred many 4th-level martial artists. Who is he? Lu Xincheng thought that there was more to come soon. Lu Xincheng continued to crush all of his enemies, sparing no one. Everyone who threatened him, who did wrong to his family, who hypocritically pretended to be a friend, all got what they deserved. The young man was willing to do anything to see justice for his family. The guy got to the head of the city. Naturally, he started begging for mercy too. Said he was his father's half-brother, that he shouldn't be treated like that. Justice, it's the same for everyone. That's why the mayor got his share too. A hard blow to the forehead put an end to their disagreement. Lu Xincheng said that he is not crazy like some people. He told the mayor he could ignore the safety of the city and those who fought for it. Lu Xincheng said he wasn't like that. He's leaving now. But when he returns, if it turns out that his family has been mistreated, he will immediately stop caring about the safety of the people in the city. And everyone involved in bad things will be dead. The mayor tearfully nodded affirmatively. The next day, our hero began to pack for the road. He knew that he had no place here where he could improve. Lu Xincheng said that he had established a route to Lujia and could now walk safely. The young man left a note for Uncle Li in which he wrote that he was going to practice demonic spine. And then came the time when, following the route, the guy hit a demonic ridge. He thought that a place like this must be crawling with monsters. It is filled with murderous chi. In his past life, he cultivated a high-level body training skill called Dragon Magic Skill. This skill requires the blood and courage of a beast. The guy decided that this demonic ridge was a good place to practice body training. This cave is pretty good, he thought. It's hidden well enough. At night, monsters behave rampantly. It's better to find a safe place to avoid an accident. The boy had various thoughts about the girl. He was mentally talking to her. "Sister, it's dark in the woods. There are monsters. I can protect you." The boy noted to himself that the monsters hadn't found his cave, and he himself did not want to provoke them. It was time to look around. The young man looked out of the cave. Lu Xincheng saw the powerful rhino catching up with the people running as fast as it could straight towards his cave. The guy decided that this was bad. Even if the rhino didn't find him, it would be very dangerous to break into this cave. He decided he had to do something about it. Our hero looked out of the cave and shouted to the young men to turn toward him. The girl was overjoyed when she realized there was a chance of rescue. The boy thought that the cave wouldn't help him avoid the rhino's attack, but if the monster went that way, he could lure it farther away. The trio managed to hide in a cave. Xin Chen said he saved them. But if they wanted to set him up, like pushing him out of the cave as a decoy, he would deal with them without ceremony. The guy started thanking him for the rescue, telling him not to be so suspicious. The rhinoceros, eyes glittering maliciously, contemplated how to lure his prey out of the cave. He may have been working on a plan of attack. Xin Chen saw that this rhino had very rough skin and powerful muscles, quite a strong body. With his current skills, it would be difficult to overpower this animal. The boy decided to give it a try and went straight to the beast. The guy's eyes glinted like a hunter's. The rhinoceros roared but did not attack. The animal apparently gave up the hunt. It turned around and ran leisurely into the forest. Xin Chen stood with his eyes closed and did not move. He was asked where the rhinoceros was. Did he run away? The young man didn't answer. The girl frowned as she didn't get an answer. The boys joined the conversation and asked if their savior was deaf. Their sister has already asked the same question several times. It's a nerve not to answer them. Xin Chen finally told them that they must be blind or deaf since they couldn't figure it out themselves. One of the brothers shouted that this fellow dared not brag in front of them. If he continued to behave like that, we would have to cut him up with a sword. The second brother stopped him and told him that it was already nighttime. There are plenty of monsters around. If this cave is destroyed, they will all be in danger again. One of the young men said they hold no grudge against him. They are grateful for his kindness. And if they meet again somewhere in the future, they will also express great gratitude. Right now, it's best to avoid conflict. Our hero asked if it was true that they came from the divine sect of the Sun and Moon. The brother and sister were outraged for some reason. The third told them to be quiet and introduced them. Xin Chen, younger sister Che Jiyun. The brother's name is Lan Feng. He himself introduced himself as Ji Yuman, and they are all disciples of the Sun and Moon divine sect. Xin Chen dreamed and decided that he needed to become strong as soon as possible and return to heaven. A powerful clan must have rich resources. It is not easy to go alone. The young man asked the boys how he could become a disciple of their sect. He must find a way to join them and improve himself with their resources. The girl said that students were accepted into this sect under harsh conditions. Family heredity, strength, and aptitude all mattered. A boy like him with 5 martial arts could hardly pass the selection process. Xin said that he really needed to get there and should still try to qualify. The older brother of the trio added that their sect maintains some distance compared to Rain Pavilion. Xin Chen said okay, if it's that hard. He thought their sect was awesome, but apparently it wasn't. The brothers became nervous at such words, but the young man asked them not to shake the air. Big Brother said that every year on June 6th, the sect recruits new students. Today it's the 3rd of April, so there are less than 2 months left. Xin Chen thought that he had time to prepare. He said goodbye to the young men and packed for the road. The girl called out to him. She asked why he was going to go into the woods. What would he do there? The boy looked at her in silence. He stood with his eyes closed and answered nothing. The girl, resenting his silence, said that many guys dream of talking to her. The guy decided that this girl was very opinionated. The brother said that the sister shouldn't be angry with such a poor man. Let her go wherever she wants. They will further carry out the task and look for the destination on their own. The girl said they have very little knowledge of how to behave in the woods. This guy has a good sense of direction. It wouldn't be a bad idea to follow along. The youngest of the brothers called Xin Chen a tightwad and said that he would negotiate with him himself. He pulled our hero by the sleeve and told him to show them the way. That's what their little sister wants. The brother offered the young man a reward for it. He added that if Xin Chen cooperated with them, this huge bead would move to his pocket. The young man threw his brother's hand away and the pearl flew to the ground. The brother roared with anger. Xin Chen said, "How can an educated person make worldly money a treasure? In his understanding, the night pearl is used in illumination." And he added, "As for money, he has plenty." And he offered to take his treasure and get out. The brother shouted with resentment that he was a penniless poor man, and he could only boast. The older brother started to cover the younger brother's mouth and told Xin Chen not to listen to him. He added that they really need to get into the forest. If Xin Chen helps them, they will, upon their return, introduce him to the Sun and Moon divine sect. And then they could all become brothers. The young man closed his eyes and thought about it. Then he said he agreed. Half a day later, the company approached the waterfall. The girl really liked this place, and there were no monsters to be seen. She asked Brother Lu if she could stay here for the night. Lu said it's best not to. If there are no monsters here, it indicates a bigger danger. It's better to set up somewhere near the trees. Big Brother urged everyone to obey Lu and find a big tree. The girl stood her ground. She really wanted to spend the night in such a romantic place. They could leave on their own, but she would stay here. My younger brother picked up and said he was staying too. It would be more comfortable to sleep here than among the branches in the trees. The older brother didn't like this discordant decision-making. The girl asked one of her brothers to build her a pool. She's going to take a bath, but young men shouldn't peek, especially this poor man. Xin Chen said that he especially didn't need it. Younger brother said to get the boys out of here quickly. This is where the women's locker room is going to be. The older brother said that the younger one should also leave so that there would be no trouble in the future. Xin Chen said that he understood and would go find another place to rest. The young man found himself a huge tree. He didn't want to go far away in case the trio sounded the alarm. He thought there might be a huge monster in the lake. The boy climbed the tree with quick and dexterous movements. He decided to camp up here for the night, choosing a branch that was more comfortable. Decided to doze off since we'd have to spend all day on the road tomorrow. The young man woke up. He listened. It seemed to him that something was going on. Suddenly, the head of a huge dragon appeared above the forest. It's Zhao, the boy thought. The young man knew that Zhao was a king among monsters. Xin Chen decided to run away urgently before Zhao could detect his breathing. But then he saw something. The dragon has been seriously injured. He is full of rage. Whether it's his blood or flesh, they can all serve as wonderful materials for power enhancement. The guy decided to enlist the help of these 3 cult members. We're gonna have to wait a little longer. Events took a different turn. The wounded monster discovered the trio near the lake and began chasing them with fury. Terror and fear was in the eyes of the young men. The girl ran as fast as she could away from the monster. Her brother held her hand, but then she stumbled and fell. The girl looked at the monster and the nightmare froze in her eyes. They were eyes of doom. There was no hope of not being eaten. A young man appeared out of nowhere. He held a golden plate in his hand, which he leaned against the monster's face. The monster started screaming in pain. Flames began to appear around him. The guy shouted that he should run away quickly. The girl jumped up and rushed into the woods. The young man staring at her thought he would give his life for her, just to show his sympathy. And at the same moment, the monster swallowed that boy. Xin Chen watched this scene while standing in a tree. He thought, why do those who deserve to perish continue to live, while the good ones perish? It's so unfair. The young man thought that those 2 would be able to utilize this Zhao's energy, but they chickened out. The boy lunged at the dragon with fury. He looked fearlessly into the beast's eyes. The monster couldn't stand the sight and was the first to lunge at the guy. Xin Chen thought that it was just a small snake. Zhao didn't usually attack the weak, so he must be seriously injured. The monster released a fountain of green flame. Xin Chen didn't stop that. Zhao walked into the lake and dived into the deep. Only his tail remained on the surface. The guy holding the gold plate in his teeth thought it was too slow. When the monster surfaced, he threw that plate right at the animal. It was a binding seal. It turned into a chain and began to wrap around the monster's body, thus restraining its movements. The animal's gaze expressed anger and hatred. Xin Chen held many such gold plates in his hands. He threw them all at the monster. The plates explode when they hit the serpent, causing damage to the serpent. The monster shrieked one last time and fell on the water. The young man laughed. He was determined not to miss his prey. He jumped straight into the animal's open mouth. Suddenly, the beast opened its eyes. He was still alive. Xin Chen tried to resist, but the monster closed its jaws and went to the bottom of the lake. The girl, watching all this action from the shore, crouched down on the ground and became sad. She didn't know what she should do now. She sat on the shore alone, tears streaming down her cheek against the full moon. The youngest of the brothers, the most restless, said they should report everything to the sect. The ancient monk's house, which they must find, would have to wait. The girl agreed to come back, but said she had to bury her older brother first. We'll explain to the sect that he was killed by a dragon. The girl said he saved her at the cost of his life and fed himself to the dragon. She remembered her brother and a pleasant memory came over her. At this time, the dragon was swimming underwater. He started spewing flames underwater. Suddenly, his whole head started to burn. Xin Chen was handling the monster from within with the pearl in his hand. Finally, the monster was dead. The young man was lying on his back, a valuable treasure nearby. He thought it was true that this secret skill was seriously harming his body. His life had been shortened by 10 years. He needs to find a solution urgently. The boy saw a cave at the bottom of the lake. It was the cave of that monster. It's a great place to cultivate. Holding the orb in his hand, he knew he had gotten a great dragon elixir. This dragon is full of treasures, blood essence, and bone marrow. All these treasures will help him practice dragon as a magic skill. He was going to taste it all. The guy decided to carve up the monster's carcass. He took out the dragon blood essence and decided to smear it all over his body. It would help him get his precious body back. Xin Chen did so and poured the contents of the vial onto himself. His whole body itched and burned like after nettles. He fell down and started screaming in pain. His body began to blister with blood. He lay there patient and thinking of Silent. Just wait for him. He'll be stronger. A month and a half later, the young man was strong and healthy. He was meditating in the lotus position. Nothing could disturb him. His gaze was confident, his eyes expressed determination. The body regained its former strength and flexibility. The force of the impact increased manifold. Xin Chen said that the first skill of the magic dragon is striking. Now it is the strength of its body. Also, his cultivation level had increased to the 7th level of martial arts. This was a necessary quality when encountering the Sun and Moon Divine Sect, Tavern the Three Gudgeons. The speaker says that the passers of this year's Sun and Moon Divine Sect exam have reached the highest level in the past years. The exams this year are not what they used to be. This year will be different. Everyone started asking what changes had taken place. Someone asked for an update on these changes. It was a stranger with his headdress lowered so that one could not see his face. Everyone thought it was some old man wanting to know the terms of the retreat. The stranger was angry at being called an old man. He lifted his headdress and it was Xin Chen, who was mistaken for an old man by those around him. Everyone apologized for mistaking the young man for an old man. His hair was as dry and white as an old man's. The body gives off the aura of an elderly dead man. Our hero asked if they knew the difficulty of evaluating the adepts of the inner court, or a famous person among the adepts. The interlocutor said that everyone here had heard of 3 prominent adherents of the outer sect. Leader Sanji is the leader of the Red Leaf Black Stronghold Army. He is a former bandit. 3 years ago, the sect leader subdued him and brought him back. The son of the Mujun family. There are many masters in their family. His father is a master of 9 levels of magic. Wei Wuxuang. The girl was born very pretty, and she is one of the most beautiful women of the Divine Sun and Moon sect. Xin Chen shuddered when he heard Wei Wuxuang's name, Muyun Chu Lan. He remembered how blood had dissolved their alliance. The guy thought he wasn't the real Xin Chen, and his heart only belonged to Selena. The interlocutor asked if he still wanted to become an adept in the Sun and Moon Divine sect, and if he was willing to take the exams, despite his decrepit, exhausted body. Anyone who passes all the exams can get into the cult. Everyone started laughing at this strange man who wants to become a cult adherent. Xin Chen said that his physical condition is not your mind. If he has no chance of becoming an adept, do those around him have a chance? Someone in the crowd said he had a lot of chances and he could also kick that old man's ass. The people around him started laughing at the bully. That's not what the old man meant. The bully was starting to heat up with resentment and was ready to pull out his blade already. He drew his sword and swung it, threatening retaliation. The interlocutor was calm and cold sweat droplets appeared on his face. The bully was frightened, saying the one had a terrifying aura and eyes exuding coldness. He slipped the sword back into its scabbard. Leaving the tavern, the bully said that he would see how far he would go in joining the Sun and Moon Divine Sect. Our hero thought that he no longer had to use the invading base. Now only the puppet technique and the Rongzhuan technique remained. The guy was telling the girl the news. She was surprised that he had sent Yuan down to Xin Chen. He told her not to be angry, and her father knows that. The girl was very upset that her childhood friend wanted to take her life. It's been 3 days. The young man breathed a sigh of relief. He was finally finished. He thought that although it was only an iron puppet, it would be enough to handle the survey of the small clan. When he thinks about it, not only gold and silver dolls but also cast iron dolls can be smoothly refined. Right now, his body and cultivation are too weak. He decided to start by disguising the doll a bit. Candidates for the exam lined up in a long line. Her tail stretched far beyond the horizon. Xin Chen thought that there were so many people in line. We have to be patient. 4 hours passed. The sun was scorching, the queue was moving slowly. Finally, it was his turn. This crystal was for determining qualifications. Everyone's talent is evaluated. The one with the crystal glowed, shouting for joy that he had passed. So he's already a cult member. This guy didn't go home. He said he wanted to see the poor guy behind him. The examiner was very collected and serious. To Xin Chen, he said that he had a good result among the others, but he used secret arts. And it was pointless as he didn't have much time left. This was the end of the recruitment of adepts into the sect. The rest of us turned around and went home, hoping to return here next year. The bully told Xin Chen that he had tried in vain and his days were numbered. Why would an old man want to learn? Lu Xincheng returned to the examiner and said that he wanted to take the test after all. The examiner got nervous. He said the appointment was over. The young man thought that this old man's cultivation was no less than the god of the seas. All the people here are from the sun and moon divine sect. One must not act rashly. The guy came over and started apologizing, saying he wasn't from around here and didn't know the rules. The examiner said he was the seventh elder. His decision won't change. You can come back in a year. Lu Xincheng said that if he came next year, the sect would lose. The old man was surprised. The guy said he was Lu Xincheng, a true genius they wouldn't be able to meet in 100 years. The examiner listened silently to the upstart. Everyone started laughing because of this strange man calling himself a genius. The examiner said that he didn't understand such jokes. In the entire Sun and Moon Divine sect, only a dozen people have this qualification. The young man offered to test him. The examiner decided to give him a chance. There's so much sneer in people's faces, but he's still just as firm. Either he really is a genius, or it is a determination of mind that is different from ordinary people. The examiner held out the crystal and said he was giving him a try. If he failed, he was never to come here again. Lu Xincheng agreed and placed his hand on the crystal. The crystal glowed green. The examiner said he could be an outer door adept, but his life is limited, so it's better to return home. The old man looked at the young man. The white-haired youth looked at the old man without blinking, not taking his hand away from the crystal. Everyone saw that the crystal began to change color. It turned purple. The young man did not remove his hand. The crystal turned golden. The examiner said in surprise that this guy was really a genius. But how could he achieve that? Of course, such a person should be made an adherent of our sect. Everyone was amazed at how this loser could become a genius. The boy took his hand away from the crystal. The sphere continued to emit golden light. Lu Xincheng asked, since he was a genius, would they give him a chance? The old man said he would be enrolled as an adherent of the sect, but there would be no privileges during his studies. Tomorrow is the inner and outer door adept competition. We should see his skills in practice. His physical condition is really special. The young man said he is absolutely confident. Pre-selection in the divine sect of the Sun and Moon. The elder said that only 10 adepts would be chosen. The inner adepts will be chosen from the initial adepts. Each will have a different rating. The higher the rating, the better. In the morning there will be 9 arenas for competition at the foot of the mountain. Lu Xincheng stood behind and watched his beloved Wei. He saw her being embraced by her new fiancé. The girl stood at the opening ceremony with her eyes modestly lowered. The elder explained all the rules and said that everyone could now disperse. Someone called out to the guy. He heard someone looking for Lu Xincheng. Everyone looked in his direction. The guy bowed and said that he was Lu Xincheng from Red Purification City. He greeted the elders. Wei shouted, "How can he be Lu Xincheng? He's just trash without any cultivation." The girl told the elder that this guy's name is not Lu Xincheng. He purposely wants to infiltrate the sect with some intent. The elder asked the young man who he was, for what purpose he had infiltrated the divine sect. The young man said that Miss Wushuang is really heartless. He and the girl broke off their engagement as bride and groom. They haven't seen each other for years, only to have a double life with another man. The young man said that not only did she send him poison to kill him, now she's going to frame him. So he got in the girl's way. The girl looked at the young man with sadness and surprise. The elder asked the girl to explain everything to him. Lu Xincheng said that there is nothing to explain. His fiancé and Mujun love each other. That's why she wanted to break her engagement to him, and she also wanted to poison him. Tears ran down the girl's cheek. The boy said he was gifted and was able to avoid being poisoned. His father left him a secret method to save his life, but it cost him dearly. He used to be 18 years old. Now he had 10 years of life left. The examiner announced that this genius was full of hate. The girl swallowed her tears and said it was impossible. She said that Lu Xincheng was worthless trash. She didn't go back to him, but she was interested in him. He didn't have cultivation all the time. How on earth had he recently acquired the 7th stage of martial arts? The guy said that means she always knew about him, that he was humiliated and almost killed in the street, but she didn't do anything. He added that when he was young he thought she was sincere. I didn't expect her to be a person who lived for money. Everyone started shaming the girl and saying it was indecent to behave like that. The girl cried and told everyone to be quiet. She cultivated diligently. She tried her best, but he was just useless. He couldn't train. Everyone began to speculate who was to blame for this story, and opinions were divided. The guy says he doesn't blame the girl, but he broke off their relationship. But he can't forgive her for wanting to poison him. The elder shouted at the girl to admit if that was the case. The girl, crying, said she didn't do it. Wei pointed her finger at the groom and said that he couldn't stand Xin Chen, but I couldn't stop him. The old man said it was a very despicable act. He should be thrown off the mountain for it. Mujin gritted his teeth and became very angry. As the young man was being led away by the servants, he shouted that Wei Wuxiang was very ruthless. Now the elder wanted to decide what to do next. The second elder of the Sun and Moon Divine sect said that they had dealt with the culprit. He didn't want to find out the rest. He turned to Lu Xincheng. According to Wei Wuxiang, he can't practice, but now he has the 7th level of martial arts. How did that happen? The boy replied that he was used to being the young master of the Qilian Cheng family, but his father, Lu Tuntian, had fought against the barbarians and allowed himself to be killed in battle. He thought his uncles would help him, but it turned out that those wanted him dead. The young man added that he had to pretend that he didn't have cultivation in order to survive. Lu Xinchen went to his room. It was already late. The young man thought about what had happened today. On the way, he saw Wei Wuxiang. The girl said she didn't expect him to be able to bear it after all these years. His qualifications are satisfactory. He possesses the 7th level of martial arts. Wei asked me not to blame her. When they were children, she loved him. They often played together and she protected him. But she didn't know until she grew up that his family refused and he couldn't practice. She had to find her own way. The young men stood in silence. It was pleasant for them to be near each other as in childhood. The girl didn't know how to continue the conversation. Wei Wuxiang apologized and said that if Xincheng had any problems, he could always call her for help. She would also be able to help him when she was in the sect. The young man looked at Wei with a hard stare. He grabbed the girl's arm. Lu Xincheng leaned her against the wall. The girl cried out but did not resist. He asked again, sure she was willing to help him with anything? The young lady asked what he wanted, but they can't be together. Xincheng asked if she was sure of that. What was she thinking when she came to his room in the middle of the night? The girl blushed with embarrassment and told him to get off her back. Wei added that she has a purple grade in the sect and is going to become the 2nd elder's inner adept. But in memory of their childhood affection, she will help him. The young man smirked when he heard about the purple grade. The girl added that a purple grade is not a small thing. Wei said that Xincheng is only at the 7th level of martial arts. There's still a lot to aspire to. The guy left and Wei thought he was shameless. How could he ignore her and leave without saying goodbye? The girl thought that Xincheng's reaction was natural as he was angry at her for canceling the engagement. It was his own fault. There was no need for him to pretend and not tell her about it. Wei decided that if he was good in the future, she would give him another chance. A certain person was watching the young ones, and she saw that this poor man was still alive. If he tells the truth, she'll be finished. It turns out that Wei Wuxiang can't control Lu Xincheng. She decided to straighten out the young man and silence him forever. Suddenly, Lu Xincheng appeared from behind. He sneaked in here. He asked who she wanted to kill. Xincheng said he found her anyway, even though he didn't take her seriously at first. Did the guy ask how she was going to deal with him? With poison incense? This is the first time he's seen a woman with such a vicious and selfish mind. The girl sank to the ground and used the forbidden technique. She cried. The young man continued and said that this time it was all her fault and she couldn't blame anyone else. The girl, sobbing, muttered that it was all wrong. He had misunderstood everything. Many spectators gathered on the square in front of the arena, all waiting for the start of the competition. An elder said that today's competition would be in the form of a race. The other elders will be watching. Only 9 winners will remain, 1 in each arena. The first phase will now begin. The participants of the competition lined up in slender columns. Lu Xincheng thought that he had no chance of failure. No one would be willing to take risks for the sake of superiority and gaining power. But the guy decided he wasn't afraid of anything. The competition began and Lu Xincheng went to the starting line. He entered the arena with his opponent. The young man introduced himself and said that his name was Lu Xincheng and he had a 7th level of martial arts. The guy across the street said they are opponents now. He knows what happened yesterday, sympathizes but will not show pity. He also reminded us that they are not allowed to accept little girls in their sect. They don't have a modicum of cultivation. This referred to the girl standing behind our hero's back. The young man told the little girl that people look down on her from above and from the opposite side. What is she going to do? Wei saw this little girl and wondered, why did Lu Xincheng bring this little girl with him? The girl suddenly adopted a fighting stance. Lu Xincheng's opponent told the elder that he didn't want to hurt the little girl, and his opponent brought the girl with him. This is a violation of the rules. But he couldn't even move from his seat. It was a body-locking spell. Here he couldn't help himself and collapsed right into the arena. Foam came out of the guy's mouth. The little girl stood coldly by her side. She took off her headdress. Everyone saw her big baby eyes. The elder announced that the fifth arena used the puppet technique as an auxiliary, which is not an offense. The winner is Xin Chen. Wei was delighted. Xin Chen even knows how to use the puppet. The girl was very happy to have her childhood friend around again. A young man stood victoriously in the arena. Next to him stood his puppet. The audience shouted that he was just a loser with a pale face and little life to spare. They said the guy doesn't have the strength to fight everyone. He sends a puppet for that purpose. Xin Chen replied that they are all very smart down there. He walked over to the most shouty one and said that anyone who hinders his progress toward his goal may not count on his mercy. The interlocutor was frightened and tears came to his eyes. Another of the spectators said that Xin Chen was bluffing and shouldn't pay attention to him. The next challenger approached our hero in the arena. He suggested that the contest begin at once. The young man rushed into battle without speaking. The puppet accompanied him. This went on and on. Xin Chen dealt with everyone who entered the arena against him. The tired guy thought that if he defeated every adept, he wouldn't be able to take out the entire crowd. The other contestants were competing in 2 or 3 bouts. He had already fought 9 fights. His strength was running low. Someone in the crowd declared that he was now ready to destroy Xin Chen. He entered the arena, drew his sword, and decided to attack our hero. The young man gathered his last strength, took out the golden plates, and thought to his opponent that he looked very cruel with his sword. Xin Chen threw the plates towards his opponent. Each one of them, when it reached its target, exploded. The puppet rushed into the epicenter. She disappeared in smoke and flames. After a while, the doll came out of the smoke. Her hands were covered in blood. The body of the opponent lay on the arena. There was a sepulchral silence among the audience. Wei realized that Xin Chen's opponent had just been torn apart. The girl fainted from the picture that reigned in the arena. An elder appeared and asked what was going on here. Xin Chen apologized and said he was very tired and lost control of the puppet. He admits his guilt for the guy's death. When he rests, he will definitely regain control of the puppet. Xin Chen said that after fighting so many battles, he is really exhausted. The young man apologized and said he was remorseful, but such an outcome during battles is possible. Elder said to be more careful in the future. The boy recognized this. He thought that the elder was not stupid and realized that the young man was being bullied here. Xin Chen motioned for Jiming to enter the arena against him. He has a chance to excel. Besides, he has average qualifications. The guy didn't relent and continued to call out his opponent, calling him a descendant of the great adepts. Jiming didn't want to accept the challenge. Jiming thought that if he accepted the challenge, it would be the end for him. Xin Chen looked very frightening. The guy stood there not knowing what to do. Everyone around him was screaming that he shit his pants, because he was scared. Jiming couldn't stand it and said that he wasn't afraid and was willing to answer the challenge. Ne Yuan appeared in the arena and said that Jiming shouldn't put himself in a difficult position, because only he could defeat this Xin Chen. Ne Yuan added that victory would be a cakewalk for him. This would be his first step to join the Sun and Moon Divine Sect. The elder confirmed that Xin Chen had used a puppet in all the battles. Therefore, with the exception of the key player, there was no need to fight him. Jiming heaved a sigh of relief. Everyone had forgotten about him and there was no need to enter the arena anymore. Xin Chen didn't forget and continued to challenge Jiming to a battle. Jiming shouted that no one dared to insult him and he was on his way out. But after seeing the body parts of his previous opponent Xin Chen in the arena, he changed his mind about getting into the fight. He turned around and with the words, "I don't care now," he rushed to run away from the arena. Everyone laughed in his wake and told him he wasn't a man. Xin Chen was facing the crowd when his childhood love Wei Wuxuang appeared in the arena. The girl said that she didn't expect Xin Chen to be so strong. 2 hours later, the elder announced that now that all the trials were over, only the key players would enter the ring, and he explained the new rules. All confirmed that they understood the rules. Xin Chen said he wanted to fight a new opponent. The man praised the young man for his courage. He likes brave people. Xin Chen is the second person that Ne Yuan wants to destroy. Xin Chen said that he is not the one who is his opponent. Wei decided that Xin Chen is still angry at her for breaking off the engagement. He wants to defeat her. She said that Xin Chen shouldn't blame her for the past. He shouldn't have hidden his qualifications and accomplishments. Now she doesn't want to give up on him. The girl said she'd give him another chance if he worked hard, and they'd try to start over. Ne Yuan said as he looked at Xin Chen from the bottom to the top. Our hero replied that Ne Yuan was becoming paranoid. Xin Chen said that serious people don't behave like this. The guy knew he was in for a quick fight. Wei turned away from the arena and cried. She didn't want to watch Xin Chen get beaten. Niyuan said that he would give Lu Xincheng a happy ending. Our hero said that his rival is bragging like that because he knows that Xin Chen will let him live. Wei yelled that Lu Xincheng had had enough. She had already humiliated herself because of him. Don't tell me it doesn't matter to him. Ne Yuan urged Xin Chen to hurry up and finish talking to the upset girl. It was time for them to start fighting. Xin Chen said it was just a noisy girl, he didn't talk to her at all. Wei pounced on him. Xin Chen shouldn't have said that to her. The young man was also angry. He asked, "Why is Wei Wuxuang so upset? It's time for her to get out of here." The girl drew her sword in anger and decided to settle things with Lu Xincheng in the arena. She shouted for Ne Yuan to get out and not contact her today. Ne Yuan thought that Wei has the same approximate strength as him, but she has a magical weapon, the flying sword. With the magic weapon, she surpasses him. Wei flew up to Lu Xincheng and said that today he would die in her name. The elder thought that Lu Xincheng was indeed a big problem. He was a demon with outstanding abilities and exceptional talent. But if he is not accepted and other sects take him over, it could turn out badly for the Divine Sun and Moon sect. Wei Wuxuang, full of anger, intended to deal with the guy once and for all. Lu Xincheng didn't intend to attack. He casually, with 2 fingers, stopped Wei's blade a few centimeters away from his heart. The girl was amazed at what she saw. Wei Wuxuang didn't understand how it was possible to block the flying sword with her bare hands, and to do so casually. But she couldn't retreat. The girl told him to let her go. He's a bastard and she wants to destroy him. Lu Xincheng was upset by what he heard. The guy dodged and used the divine dragon and elephant technique. The young lady got a bit of a kick and her mouth was bleeding. Wei couldn't stay on her feet and fell into the arena. The blade was no longer in her hands. The girl flew far to the side, hit her head, and seemed to pass out. She lay motionless in the arena, people clustered around her. The elder and Ne Yuan were astonished by what they saw. The elder shouted that the girl should be sent to the infirmary immediately. She might need a sick leave. The aides took Wei Wuxuang in their arms. The elders said that there was no more point in continuing to fight. Lu Xincheng is recognized as the strongest. But Yuan didn't argue and admitted that this time Lu Xincheng was in first place deservedly. Elder said that's what was agreed upon, that will be the ranking. The qualifying competitions are over. All qualifiers and evaluations are now complete. He said to have all 9 adepts of the tournament winners stand in front of him. Lu Xingcheng thought that in the Sun and Moon Divine Sect, the treatment of inner door adepts and outer door adepts was very different. Outer door adepts could only rely on themselves. He realized that with his talent, it wouldn't be difficult to become an inner door adept. The elder announced that Ne Yuan was also accepted into the sect as a disciple of the elders. Lu Xincheng was interested in this news. Ne Yuan said that Lu Xincheng is the strongest, so he should rightfully become a disciple of the elders. The elder announced that Lu Xincheng didn't have much time left, so he couldn't be accepted into the academy. But due to his qualifications he is staying, but can only be an outer door disciple. The guy mentally said it was all just for her. The young man thought the dogs looked down on the humans. The guy realized that this was a gift from the Divine Sun and Moon sect. He was definitely going to repay the clan in the future. Ne Yuan said that it was unfair for Lu Xincheng. We should go to the elders and discuss this situation. Lu Xincheng said there's no need to make a fuss. He's happy with everything as it is. He added that he didn't have much life force left in him, but he is still staying in the clan and spending resources on himself. It's enough for him. He thought that he was in a bad state now and the elders could destroy him if they wanted to. Lu Xinchen read that in 8 days the Sun and Moon Divine Sect would compete with the Zhangjian sect. There will be 2 stages. The winner will be honored in the Sacred Hall. The Sacred Hall is the largest clan in the eastern lands of Tianfu. Lu Xinchen couldn't even think about the Sacred Hall. If Ne Yuan hadn't given him the information, this guy turned out to be very fair. Lu Xincheng remained alone in the room. Suddenly a young man called out to him. Lu Xincheng looked around to see who was there. It was Ji Ming. He came to apologize for his indecent behavior. He said that he wouldn't bully Lu Xincheng anymore. Xincheng said that since he had come to ask for forgiveness, he should bring a gift. The gift should be expensive. Ji Ming was angry at his interlocutor, but he didn't show it. He figured if it wasn't for the mission, he wouldn't have come here. Lu Xincheng saw the ring on Ming's finger and said it was a good gift and he would take it. Ji Ming didn't expect such insolence and was very upset. He said no problem, but he had another gift. Ji Ming added that the adepts of the outer door are different from the adepts of the inner door, and resources are allocated in a limited way. If you want to practice, you have to do tasks and get paid. Recently he learned about a life service. It's something that can prolong life. and he thought of Lu Xincheng. The young man said he had never heard of it. A long-lived fruit is an incredibly rare fruit. The lifespan gained from it at a time is not obvious, but you can make pills from it and it will have an effect like the reincarnation fruit. Lu Xincheng said that this is indeed a good gift. Ji Ming said to meet at the foot of the mountain tomorrow morning. Lu Xincheng followed to the meeting place and thought that he didn't even know if the long-lasting fruit was real. But it's worth a try. The young man thought he had to be careful how he behaved. You could be killed if you overworked yourself. The boy stopped. This was something he hadn't expected to see. The girl stood before him in all her glory with her head held proudly high. The boy faded his gaze and lowered his eyes. He figured that judging by the outfit she was an inner door adept. What's she doing here? Lu Xincheng looked at the girl questioningly. The young man asked his older sister if she wanted to stop him. The girl replied that he was talking nonsense. The guy said she was incredibly beautiful but not his type. The young lady shouted out that Lu Xincheng was ruthless. The young man replied that he did not recall any love affair between them. The girl said that she couldn't understand how her younger sister Wu Shuang could fall in love with someone like that. She called herself Gao Shiqi and said that her sister stopped hating Xincheng after he defeated her. Gao Shiqi said that her sister sent her to find out why he was so mean. Lu Xincheng said that this is not true. Wei Wuxuang and Mu Yunchu have feelings for each other, so why is he being called mean? The young man said that it was Wuxuang who decided to break the engagement. The sister said he was too talkative. Gao Shiqi fiercely defended her sister and said that she had made the same mistake as many women in the world. Wuxuang is ready to bring back the past spent together with the young man. If it were me, the sister added, I would break your legs and throw you out of the sect. Lu Xincheng said for the girl to go to her sister and he was sick of all these relationship investigations. Gao Shiqi had in no way expected such a harsh answer from the young man. She shouted that the guy was just a petty outer door adept with level 7 martial arts. The girl decided to teach the brat a lesson. She immediately sprang into action. The unsuspecting Lu Xincheng continued on his way when the wily little sister decided to attack him from behind. But our hero was very careful, and he, using his skills and defensive energy, was able to fend off the attack and do some damage to this stroppy girl. Gao Shiqi defeatedly flew to the side and fell to the ground. Lu Xincheng continued on his way as if nothing had happened. The girl snapped back and said that she wouldn't forgive the guy for today's defeat and would definitely complain to Brother Tao to stand up for her. Lu Xincheng continued on his way. It was the morning of the next day. The young man thought that the ore had already made all the preparations for his work last night, both with the cartilage balsam powders and the scaly dragon hide. Now he shouldn't encounter any difficulties on today's journey. Something caught our hero's eye. There were some young men who were figuring something out amongst themselves. Gao Shiqi complained to her brother that she had been mistreated. The young man needed to be taught a lesson. He injured her. Lu Xincheng asked the girl, why did she bring so many outsiders here? And he thought to himself that the journey would not be very smooth. Tao said he's not an outsider at all. He's a person of interest. Xincheng calmly said that no one had asked him. Why is he interfering in someone else's conversation? It's unseemly. Tao arrogantly snapped back that Xincheng was just a lowly outer door adept. How dare he speak to him in such a tone? So I'll have to teach him a lesson. There was a duel of glances between the young men like boxers after a weigh-in. The sister intervened and asked her brother not to go too hard on the kid. He's just still mad at her and blames her for breaking up with him because of her relationship with Mu Yunchu. At that moment, a carriage pulled up. Mu Yunchu stepped out of the carriage. Lu Xincheng thought, how come Mu Yunchu ended up here? It's not by chance. The girl said there was no one to blame. Not everything was up to her. Her position and her clan imposed some obligations. The groom walked up to his bride, gently took her hands and told her that he wanted to make the girl happy. At first he was upset, but then he realized that he shouldn't blame her. Besides, the elixir was really what he had planned. The girl wept. Lu Xincheng stood alone to the side. The intrigue continued. A classic love triangle. Mu Yunchu's gaze was serious. Tao said a lack of stamina in lesser things sometimes spoils a great endeavor. Mu Yunchu said that it was getting late and it was time to hit the road. This time, the journey to the abandoned graves would be a long one. Everyone went to the carriage. Mu Yunchu told Lu Xincheng that the carriage did not have seats for everyone. Not enough seats. The young man suggested to the guard who did not have enough room in the carriage to go with him. It was agreed. The young men dispersed in silence. The carriage left, the two walked. 7 days passed, the company reached the abandoned graves. The girl asked what Ju's brother was looking for in this abandoned place, even at night. The girl was scared, The guy said his father's 60th birthday is coming up, and he wanted to make a present for the old man. He continued that 6 months ago, he received information that there was a tree called Devil's Tears on abandoned graves in the east. This tree has already ripened red fruits the size of a fist. He wants to send them as a gift to his father so that he can break through the unlimited power of the 9 circles of heaven. The girl thought the Devil's Tears were a great chance. Mujin said that he had expected that the girl was aware of a lot of things. Another girl asked, "What are the Devil's Tears?" Wu Shuang replied that as a child, she had studied at the Academy of the Royal House. It was there that she gained a lot of knowledge about various healing remedies. The fruit of the Devil's Tears tree is used in the creation of the elixir of awakening. This tree bears fruit once every 100 years, and usually the size of the fruit is much smaller. I'm surprised no one's picked these fruits yet. Maybe they're under the protection of some monster. Xin Chen thought that the girl was right. Getting these fruits would not be easy. There must be many people eager to get their hands on such a treasure. Our hero knew that these fruits had another wonderful property. They help to restore the distorted striving for the true path in people below the realm of the divine sea. Tao told Xin Chen to hurry up if he wanted to get the fruit. The young man thought that ignorant people are always the most fearless. And so it turned out to be. Closer to the tree, the campaign noticed that many people were already standing by waiting for the fruit. Mu Yunchu was furious. His informant had only told this news to him. He had given up a lot for this information. Hearing the exclamation, the men turned around, pulling out their weapons. The chief among them, after assessing the campaign with a glance, said for everyone to calm down. To deal with a level 8 demonic white tiger, you need a lot more people. He continued and said that it turned out that the talented disciples of the Sun and Moon sect were following them. The young man introduced himself and said that he was He Ju Zhan, an inner disciple of the warrior sword sect, possessing 4 levels of divine power. Mu Yunchu said he was pleased to meet you, and asked why these people were here. He Ju Zhan asked who you were. No one spoke to you at all. How does a lowly disciple dare to talk to an inner door adept? Is this the custom in your sect? A servant stood up for his master and said that Mu Yunchu shouldn't be spoken to like that. I'll have to apologize. He Ju Zhan indifferently looked at this servant. The 2 clans began to work things out between them. He Ju Zhan said to ignore the opponents and check the route again, and we should set up camp. He added he hoped the Mujin clan would not cause problems. Mu Jun said, "It's not worth it to stand out much in front of each other. All of them are now in abandoned areas." Mu Jun bowed his head peacefully. He Ju Zhan called his team and said that they would now review the route and discuss tactics for tomorrow. He added that he only wanted the fruit of the Devil's Tears tree, the rest could be taken for himself. A Mujin family servant warrior said that even if you add up the value of all the trophies, they wouldn't be as valuable as the fruit of this tree. The fruit is the size of a fist. He Ju Zhan said that he would then not show them the constructed and designed route because they would be able to just grab the trophies without participating in the battle. Mujin said the opponents can count on their clan for help. He Ju Zhan said that the demonic white tiger was not inferior to masters with divine power of the 9th levels. If anyone tries to get to the tree while the rest of us are fighting the tiger, they will be in trouble. 2 camps were set up for the night. Xin Chen thought about the camp opposite. He Ju Zhan said that he was only an inner disciple, but the courts, by the arrangement of the tents, he was being guarded. And he's not stupid, he thinks in cold blood. He's not like a normal person. Wu Shuang walked up to the young man from behind and asked what he was thinking so intensely about. The girl said that she had a map of the location of the fruits that she took from Brother Chu. The girl confessed that her brother called Xin Chen with him because he has bad intentions about him. The young man looked to see that it was indeed a map of the location of the fruits. Why did she show it? Maybe Wu Shuang is trying to deceive me. Why is she sucking up to me if she broke off the engagement first? The guy also allowed that perhaps Wu Shuang wanted to get rid of him and thus take revenge. The girl confessed that she knows how much he hates her for betraying him. Now she wants to make amends. Maybe they can at least be friends. The young man threw the card into her hands, said he didn't need it. Guy added that he wished her a wonderful rest of her life with Chu Mu Jun. You two are worthy of each other.